This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Mr. President, I'm calling the meeting to order at 6 o'clock.
I'm just the only, mine and Louise's are the only ones on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. All right. First up, we have the minutes from August 13th.
Move approval of the minutes.
Be gentle.
Okay. Jen, are you taking, Vito is...
Yeah, Jessica.
She's going to transcribe from...
She is.
Okay, so you don't have to. Okay, so that was moved by John, seconded by Margaret to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion?
Oh, wait, it's not a big deal. My name is spelled incorrectly under district solution equipment.
I'm sorry, Margaret.
That's okay. Usually if you spell it L-A-W and S-O-N. Oh,
Lawson?
yeah, I don't know why.
Did anybody else?
Yes.
Anybody else have anything? What's this?
It's on the, well, it's not misspelled, it's just the wrong word. It's on page 2, minutes under budget finance. September is when the employees will get
The first payment. Okay, so,
they have, yes.
all right, so bullet 1, 2, 3, 4. Bullet 4 under budget finance, budget 2, the employees will get. Okay. All right, so, are we ready? Does anybody want to change the motion to...
And 75 students, 40 of them are school choice and 2 out of districts. The ice cream social was held on Wednesday, September 3rd. It was a beautiful night to welcome everyone back to Norris. Thank you to the Norris PTO and the many volunteers, including many Hampshire Regional High School students who made it a fantastic night. Yay. We hired a board-certified behavioral analyst. We are close to hiring an SLPA for preschool. She started today. Only, and it's in our neurodiversity program.
And Lisa, why is that 1 year only?
A student that we took in from Easthampton who's only here for 1 year.
So it's all
The school year or 3 days. Chief Fasoli said it was the best fire drill he's ever seen.
Wow.
He really did.
Wow.
He really did. They were very impressed. And we never do it that early in the morning, and we don't usually do it like on the 3rd day of school, so it was shocking. Picture Day, September 16th. We will participate in National Walk to School Day on October 8th. We have notified everybody here and the fire department, the police department, and town hall that we will be here that day. We have a half day for teacher professional development on September 24th. Open house is scheduled for K to 5 on September 25th from 6 to 7. 6th grade is September 18th. I should have said that and I forgot. We continue to work out schedules for students, like our lunch schedule, our recess schedules, arrival, dismissal, and staffing. It's been pretty good though. We've been pretty good a few weeks. We implemented a new parent pickup system. Each student was assigned a code for pickup. We're asking caregivers to know the code or display the code on their dashboard for pickup. We've notified all parents and they're on board. And we had about 99% of the people had the placard or knew the number. So it's just an extra safety measure. I know we talked about it at one point last year. You didn't ask me to do it, and nothing prompted us to do it, except we should do something. Because it feels better.
Is the number their number for lunch?
Yes.
Okay, just because like my kids who don't get picked up.
We tried to make it easy.
I saw these and I'm like, I don't know what this is, and I threw it in the trash. And then everyone was like, then I read this and I was like, oh,
So
I don't know what their numbers are now.
sent the
I was like, in case I
We
need
sent the
it.
cards home, and then we sent the email that night.
Yeah.
So some parents who got to the backpack first, but we didn't want to send the cards, we didn't want to send the email first, and then parents think they needed the card that day to pick up their child.
Right.
So that's why we did it that way.
So Lisa, how does the process work?
So we have the same people on duty that we've had, and we do get to know most of the parents. We ask each person in the car, instead of saying, what's your last name? Smith, Lukaszowicz, Kluda, whatever. We ask them for their number. Every child was given this number.
Okay.
So the parents have to either have the placard displayed or know the number if it's grandma who's picking up or whatever. And if they don't know the code, then we're going to send them to the office to be verified as a pickup person. And it's just an extra level of security, yeah. Here's a picture of the new flooring installed in both preschool classes and the 2 kindergarten classrooms. This was funded by the town of Southampton, the capital planning committee. The first picture is the old flooring, and if you had it in color, like online or in a colored packet like I have from school, you would see how beautiful it is. I mean, I just cannot believe how gorgeous the colors and the floor and the ceiling are matching, and we really are grateful for the money that we get through capital improvements to be able to do things like this. It's more sanitary, kids with allergies are better off, easier to clean, especially in preschool and kindergarten when things spill like snack and milk and things like that. So I just wanted you to get a good picture of that. It's really nice. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Lisa?
Under staffing.
Yes.
So the ECBA that was hired, the funding source for that was the additional funding that was brought up by an increase in the circuit breaker funds, correct?
I thought it was just general budget. It was a position that was put into the budget.
Yeah, remember we got rid of the contracted position?
Quantum, yeah.
Oh, that's that position. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was hiring that position actually saved money.
Correct.
In the overall budget.
Correct.
Then so as far as the SLPA for preschool, or the 0.5 nurse, are those above and beyond what was originally budgeted for?
No, so we had an SLP, speech language pathologist. Her position was cut from 0.75 to 0.5. She could no longer be in the position without health insurance, so she left. So then I posted for a 0.5 SLP, and I had about 3 great candidates. 2 I tried to hire, both could not do it without health insurance. And then I couldn't find an SLP after that. So we then found this person who does not need health insurance but she's an SLPA. So she needs to be supervised by an SLP while she's working at Norris. And so we have a plan for that. We have another SLP in the building who will be supervising her. She does have a master's degree. She's been a special ed teacher before, and she took the 0.5 position, so.
Okay, and sorry, so this was to fulfill the SLPA position that we had at 0.75.
It was an SLP.
SLP.
And we actually did save some money because she's an SLPA.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at 0.75 was in the budget that ultimately was passed with the budget cuts, right?
0.5 was passed.
0.5 was passed.
Yeah.
Okay. That person opted not to remain at Norris and exited. You attempted to backfill. Instead of backfilling with an SLP, you got an SLPA who is qualified. That's
Yes.
the master's.
Yes.
All right, and is coming in at a 0.5 or a 0.75?
Yes, 0.5.
0.5, so it's still a cost reduction.
Yep.
All right. And can you talk about school nurse, 0.5?
That was budgeted.
That was budgeted too.
That's what our budget was.
Okay, but
Same sort of thing. One of the nurses was cut to 0.5. She couldn't do that, so she resigned. We posted the 0.5 position, which was budgeted for, and we found someone, and it needs to be appointed tonight.
okay. So again, that was, even with the reduction that we had with the failure of the override, there was still a 25 in there. This is not new.
Correct.
Now, that last bullet point, I forget if we knew about it at the time or not, but the para position related to the student from West Hampton that's coming over, is that cost being borne by the general budget, or is it being covered by West Hampton?
Covered by West Hampton.
West Hampton, so
Yes.
it's not in our general fund.
Right.
It's not part of the budget.
Correct.
That passes the override. So the public comments that are out there that are being brought to school committee members, that we went ahead and rehired everybody that we cut, is untrue. And not
Correct.
part of the
Right.
budget,
Right.
All these positions that we're putting in are a result of the cuts and, i.e. forced departures because we couldn't provide health insurance.
Right.
We're not adding anything new, with the exception of the West Hampton, with the paraprofessional, which the town of West Hampton is covering,
Right.
because it's directly related to their students' need.
Right.
So we still lost
We
all
did.
the staff
Absolutely.
that we said we were going to do.
Right.
And this school committee is playing games up here and backfilling these positions and then pretending that we still need $500,000. Nope. I just want it on the record. Thank you. That's what happened at the transfer station on Saturday.
Oh my
God.
Well then, glad I don't use the transfer station.
Okay, Vito, you're up.
Yes, so superintendent's report was in the drive, it's in the packet. The first item is the wellness policy, and there have been questions at in other districts about the policy, which was initially written by a committee that was comprised of people across the 5 districts. And so when you look at the wellness policy in the drive, it's my fault it's not in the packet. I thought 16 pages in addition to everything else was going to be too much, so I have to own that. I apologize. The 5 districts are represented in the letterhead, and ultimately what we're finding is that each of the school committees of the individual districts have different questions, a different take on this wellness policy. I sent the wellness policy to Kimberly Roach at Dupre's law office, and she's doing a crosswalk between MGL and FDA requirements and the language in it, just to ensure that the work that was done is in compliance and isn't going too far past compliance, which is some of the concern that we've heard in other districts. So that is going to be discussed later. We have Sam Pease here, who was chair of that wellness committee. And moving forward, we might be obligated to have each district look at and approve the wellness policy separately, because each district's committees have a different take on, so far, and I'm not speaking for Southampton, have a different take on what should and shouldn't be included in it. So that was part of the report. I wanted to give you some more context with the DESE wellness policy guidance and the whole school, whole community, whole child guidance that DESE put out. It should probably be known that the work that the committee did was guided by a liaison from the department, and ultimately the policy was approved, and I put that in quotes, by the department. The second piece in this report really has to do with the advocacy work that a group of superintendents, including myself, are doing around the trust's mid-year increase, trying to bring awareness to our state reps and our state senators. We met last week in a roundtable with the commissioner and the Secretary of Education, and again, we brought this to their attention. They were aware, they know that the governor's office is looking at it. So it's just, we're trying to come at the problem from different angles and ensure that those who need to know of its negative effect on districts and municipalities are hearing it from different resources, or different sources, I should say. Just an FYI, the Student Opportunity Act has a progress report that's due. Ours was submitted and it was approved for each of the schools, which was appreciate the work that's done by the principals in getting those progress reports done in a timely manner. And then last, there was an excellent PD, Powerful Pairing Summer Institute, that is explained a little bit more in this paragraph here, but there were representatives from Williamsburg and Southampton. Kevin Hodgson was a representative here, and it was really an opportunity for some collaborative work across districts and across content areas in the summer. I put some pics in the folder, but I didn't print them in color or in black and white, so they're just in the folder for you to look at.
Any questions for Rita?
Have you heard anything back from any of the, I know you said from Secretary Chetweiler and stuff that the governor was aware and whatever, but from any of the representatives, have you heard back anything other than, yeah, we'll look into it?
What I've heard is that it's beyond looking into it. There's advocacy coming from our reps and our senators that are doing work across all these 71, is that right, Dawn? 71 membership groups that includes municipalities, water districts, school districts, etc. So I don't know what's going to come of it, but it is more than we're taking it under advisement.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. I just don't know what is going to happen in response.
Any other questions for Rita? Thank you. All right, chair's report. Okay, so continuing with the advocacy. The Rural Schools Committee provided a template for a letter to send to state leaders to advocate for increased rural school aid in case there are any supplemental appropriations happening this year. So I did send a letter to all of the government people that they told me to send it to. So I did send a letter, that was on August 21st that I did that. Part of the template is a place to personalize it, to talk about your own community. So in that section, I included information regarding all that Norris lost in the fiscal 26 budget when the override failed, as well as the huge hit the town is taking due to the unexpected and therefore unbudgeted increases from the Hampshire County Government Insurance Trust. So they're hearing it from the school committee as well. Last night, I went to the Joint Select Board Finance Committee meeting because they were discussing the fiscal 27 budget guidelines of the calendar. So the town administrator indicated that we should be preparing 4 budget scenarios: level service, level funded, a budget including an override, and a budget without an override that would result in a budget that is less than level funded or level service. He also indicated that it's likely that in fiscal 27, the increased real estate tax revenue that the town receives from the 2.5% increase plus new growth would be consumed by the increases in insurance costs. The town administrator's proposed budget calendar includes all departments submitting their initial budget requests in December, with budget presentations in January. The schools were specifically named as departments whose budgets the town wants to see earlier than last time.
It's not in our packet, is it?
No, this is, this is just me, my notes.
Okay.
So that I can keep it all straight.
Okay.
You know me.
I would like to see a copy after the fact, because you just said a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't often have an executive chair report, but I felt like I wanted to keep it all straight. And then regarding Article 2 on the special town meeting warrant, the town administrator and the chair of the select board indicated that the capital funds that are being used to address the unexpected and unbudgeted bill from the insurance trust are funds that are either left over from completed projects or funds that are not going to be used for those projects. I specifically asked if Norris is losing any planned capital work, and they said no. And I had spoken to Elisa earlier in the day to confirm that as well. So for folks who are concerned, I've heard about concerns about Norris losing more. In this particular case, for these particular things, they're not. If that article doesn't pass the town meeting, then we have to have another way to pay the over $300,000 insurance bill, and the town administrator indicated that that would mean mid-year cuts and probably personnel cuts in the town, in the school. So that was the select board finance committee last night, as far as stuff that impacts us. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, and again, I would love to say complex, because that was a lot.
Yeah, I'll send
But, so you, go back.
What do you want to know?
Okay, so you said something about finance committee saying we need this kind of budget, this kind of budget. Four different things, but ultimately they all have to be below what we have. I think Dawn and I were like.
They said they want us to prepare a level service. If I'm understanding the slide that they have, a level service, a level funded, a budget that includes an override that would maybe have like making some progress in areas. Maybe for us, it might be being able to replace some of the things that we lost in fiscal 26. And then a budget that assumes no override. And this is the one that's a little, it is hard to understand, but this is what the slide says.
Okay.
The budget without an override that would result in a budget that is less than level funded or level service.
So I would take unfunded in our particular case definition to mean the cuts are restored. That's the whole fund. Because we can only operate for 1 year with the cuts. The second year, we can't leave them out of the budget. That would put us in violation of the collective bargaining agreements. So the school committee, I don't think has a choice. I think the level funded to the school committee is reinstitute the cuts. What are the contractual increases that we have to put in? Nothing new. So we still wouldn't, I mean, not that we're ready to, but we're still not going to get the STEM position that all the other schools have. To me, that would be the level
service. That would be level service, right?
Level service, yeah.
Right.
Level funded is the same amount of money.
And the level funded would be cuts.
Yeah.
But level service, including any contractual agreements that are made during.
So then the question is, does the contractual, because we're doing contractual agreements for level service, does that make, it might be a question for Kimberly, through the chair. Do we have to add those positions back in?
Right.
I don't know the answer to
So there's going to be more guidance. So John, I wouldn't stress too much yet. There is going to be more guidance coming. This was like their initial conversation. It seemed like an initial conversation.
Yeah, I will say they're doing this 3 months in advance, because at the select board wanted to make a motion to require all departments in the town, excluding Norris, to prepare 10-15% budget cuts to the budget. But the town administrator doesn't want to do a blanket across all departments, because you have a department of like health services that only has one full-time employee.
But he wants to do, he called it targeted, he wanted to call it targeted cuts. So there will be more to come on that, but yeah, I think the thing that struck me the most was when he showed the numbers about what we get for increased revenue with the 2.5 and from new growth. And he also indicated that there are signs that new growth in town is slowing down. When he said that the health insurance situation would eat up all that money, then, you know, that leaves us in a position, right? So that was that, and I'll clean this up because I really know to do that are just for me, but I will clean this chair report up and send it to all of you tomorrow, okay? Any other questions about it? Okay. All right, Hampshire Regional, Jen, you're on.
That's me. They had their meeting, or our meeting.
Your meeting.
We had our meeting on August 25th. Basic reorganization type stuff and routine business. Dawn was there and talked about budget stuff, which for the most part, we had already talked about in our meeting because we had it before them. What else? There was talk about the fact that the impact of the insurance trust at the Hampshire level, like, so we have what Norris has for Norris teachers and stuff, but we're also responsible for the part of our Hampshire that cost. So I want to say Dawn said ours was 229,000 for Hampshire's portion.
Southampton's portion
of the Hampshire Regional, yeah. There is talk there, however, of potentially taking the money from school choice up there because it has a balance that could support just taking all of the required money. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that was thrown out there as a choice. Don offered, multiple choices like, mid-year assessment to the towns, the whole 9 yards. So that was there. Approved some custodial salary increases in jobs. They approved 2 teachers to take on an extra bit of work and become advisory coordinators and improve the advisory period at the high school. I guess that's kind of been lacking. So they're going to have like a more uniform curriculum for everyone. They approved a sped teacher to take an extra math class. And they approved the 2-year school improvement plan.
Any questions for Jen?
Yep.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, no,
Throw it at me.
is there any change in the reorg? Is there a new chair?
No, no, I believe it was Tom before and it's still Tom.
So no change in that? Okay.
No.
But Jerry Jennings is the vice chair now, is that correct? I think that's, yeah.
Sure.
Yes. And secondly, I don't know if it was mentioned there, if it happened afterwards, but Southampton lost a seat. Member resigned, so you need to call for
Correct.
peers to step forward.
So that, yes, so I was made aware of that, but we didn't talk about that at the meeting. I was made aware of that by one of the other members of the Southampton representatives on that committee, that yes, whoever had the position resigned. I don't know who it was.
It's like minority.
Oh, okay, so she resigned or is not doing it, so yes, there is a, like, just Hampshire Regional Southampton contingent person that we need to be filled. Correct.
So that's a letter to the select board saying you're interested and it's a joint meeting between the select board and the members from Southampton that are on the Hampshire region.
Is it them or is it the
That's
boards?
correct.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
I have no idea.
It's Hampshire Region.
It's the Hampshire
But
region.
not the whole Hampshire region.
No, it's the Southampton members of the Hampshire region. So if anybody's interested, anybody out there, if you're interested, that's your,
Yeah, we need people.
that's your path. It is, been there,
Did it for 10 years.
three of us, been there, done that. And now the 4th. John, hey.
I'll be happy to step down early.
You're missing out.
No, John, we need you. Okay, thanks, Jen. Anybody, any questions for Jen? All right, PTO. PTO was last night, same time as the select board meeting, and so I couldn't go to PTO. I will tell you, though, that their back to budget online fundraiser has, right now it sits at $9,910 that they've raised, and they have another $1,000 in checks that are sent to PTO. So it's over $10,000 that they've raised. This is in response to the failure of the override and primarily due to the fact that all the classroom supply was zeroed out to help staff with their supply needs. So I can't answer really any questions on PTO. School council.
School council, pretty soon I will be reaching out to parents to get a couple parents to serve on the school council. Margaret, are you already? Yeah. Okay, perfect, yep. So the next couple of weeks, I'll be sending something out.
Perfect. Dylan, anything from the collaborative?
Next meeting, September 24th.
Okay, thank you.
They don't do anything this summer.
The summer highway.
They picked a search firm, I guess, for the executive director search that's been chosen. So the next meeting, I guess, I can talk about that.
Okay, great. John, anything to add from the select board?
Not that thing.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right. John, you are up for the budget and finance scheme update.
Do you want me to go to the microphone and just tell me how to?
You might as well.
Okay, before we get into the financials, I wanted to say that in terms of the organization up in central office, the 3 positions in addition to mine, the payroll person was hired and is in his 5th day. The assistant business administrator is in his 7th week. There has been no movement on the accounting financial analyst position that we talked about the other day. Not all school committees seem to be in agreement about how to move forward on that. We will be getting some additional input from Kimberly. We continue to meet monthly with DESE to report on the status of the central office progress. That seems to be going well. We have another meeting coming up in October, and October and November will be telling months because our end-of-year reports are due at the end of October. Well, they're due at the end of September, but in our last meeting, when I reported on what we were doing, they said, why don't you apply for an extension? I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to disappoint, but it's unrealistic to expect it to be done in September. The director or I don't know what Jay is.
Associate Commissioner.
The Associate Commissioner is the one who recommended that we do that. So we are applying for an extension. That's going to be in October. Then just jumping into also with respect to the budget for 27, we're currently working on a pro forma for the high school and for the central office, because the central office costs come first. Usually the ADC meets, I think, in the November timeframe to inform the budgets for the other schools, for the schools, because you get a piece of the central office allocation. And so we need to know what the central office budget is. ADC usually, I don't know if you can say approves it, but they listen to it, and I don't think they recommend something to each of the full committees. In terms of the Southampton North School, if you go to the colored page in your packet, yes. So you've seen something like this before. It was done in June before we had the final numbers. We have the final numbers recorded in the central office general ledger. The budget is as listed. You'll see the $6,562,483.39. That's what we would call the gross budget. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying that's the full budget. And then the year-to-date actuals are $6,445,000, which would lead one to believe that you're $116,000 under budget, but that's not true because of the way the revenues fall in. So we have to continue to move down the page, and the offsets to the budget are $931,096, revenues that were approved by the school committee. So the projected budget with offsets is $5,631,387.39, which is what the town expects to pay for the Norris School. So when you compare that to how the year-to-date numbers came in, it looks like we're $814,000 over budget, but wait, there's more. When you continue to go down the page, you'll see the transportation, the regular transportation and the sped transportation for a total of $387,335, and you'll remember that that transportation amount is on the municipal budget. So there's no budget against that, so right away we deduct that, and we're down to an overage of $426,000. And then we continue to take the offsets. So the rural aid is going to be applied at this number that you see there. The circuit breaker would be applied at the number you see there. REAP, and then the money or the funds that were allocated from the Southampton Select Board at $60,000. So then it means that you come down to a projected shortage of maybe $2,000 or $2,200. These are all, as we say, projections, because we are still refining the numbers with Bradley. This is what's on our books. We need to coordinate that with what's on the town's books, which Bradley does. He's posting things currently. He's posting revenues, et cetera. He'll be getting balances. Once he gets balances on the special revenue accounts, which is where the offsets come from, then we will confirm those numbers at the bottom. They may be a little higher, they may be a little lower, and then that will bring us down to the true number. But that's in process. And if you go to the next section, the printout of what's in our general ledger, you will see the line-by-line expenditures, with page 7 being that total $6,445,623.11, which ties back to the front page. So that's just how you read through all of that. And you'll remember before, the big areas of overage, so to speak, are the sped costs. the sped costs were budgeted fairly low, and we have taken care of that in next year's budget. But I do believe the sped costs look to me like they've come in just even a little bit higher than we had originally projected. So that's the issue on the budget. And then the next section is on the benefit, the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. Before I get there, does anybody have any questions on the budget section? Yes, Dylan.
Looking at fiscal year 27, a couple of numbers I'm curious about. Number one, is there any of that forensic accounting money that's falling out of central office budget for fiscal year 27? And then two is, do you anticipate having updated allocation numbers for the towns for fiscal year 27, the percentages?
Yes. And we'll know that after the October 1 student, well, your second question first. In terms of the allocations, those are driven by student enrollment. Student enrollment is effective October 1, so that has to get into the SIMS database. It has to get reported to DESE. DESE has to approve it, come back to us, and then once we have the enrollment for each town, we will recalculate the allocation. The allocation for central office costs is based on 1 year. The current year enrollment, the allocation for the regional costs at the high school are based on a combination of current year enrollment and a 5-year rolling average. The current year enrollment is done by DESE on the required minimum contribution, and then anything over the required minimum is done at the 5-year rolling average. So we will know those late October. Okay.
And I just say, and this is, if anyone disagrees, say so, but I would recommend, or I would like to see sooner than later, just because we don't want to end up in the same position of, I'd love to see last year's budget that was level services, which is what the one that didn't, the budget that we put forward.
Oh, that didn't pass? Okay.
I would love to see that put forward with adjustments to all the contracts, basically that same exact budget, adjusted for current contractual step increases, or I guess we can't do that because we don't have a contract yet.
I don't have a contract.
Never mind. I would say put that number together if we want to, I don't know if you can throw a placeholder in there necessarily, but no, never mind. Scratch that thought.
But you did have a question too about the forensic.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I forgot that one. No, actually, what Vito and I have talked about is trying to accelerate the release of those funds, and that is predicated on what the 5 school committees decide about the other position that I've asked for. Right now, anyway, $175,000 of the forensic costs is what we're planning on releasing, finding a way to give up in FY 2027. So that's about, I've forgotten the exact percentage, but maybe 80%, 80-85%.
So this new position that you want, be funded with some of that money?
Well, the forensic cost is just the forensic costs. What was titled as forensics, I think in the most recent budget is around, I want to say 258,000. Maybe it's a little bit more. I don't have those figures right in front of me, but I can grab them. That's what I'm talking about. 175 of the 258 would be released. That other position, and what that would do is allow us to have the forensic accountant leave, and that would free up money in another section of the budget that's meant for an actual person, not an external person. An actual person they're all actual people as it turns out, but somebody with, yes, yeah, a district employee. We have no clones or anything like that. So, yeah, we are working to release as much of that as we possibly can. Yes.
What are the objections to this position that you would like to hire? You don't have to name.
No, I think that the most current, what did you call it, objection, is that they'd like to see a reduction in the central office costs beyond the forensics. You know, that central office costs have, the statement was that central office costs have continued to escalate, et cetera, and we'd like to see them cut. So,
Would you say that that's a majority of the 5 committees or a minority?
a minority at this point, but a very vocal one.
I mean, I would just say that's how we got to the situation.
Well, that's exactly the reason that we are here where we are now.
Yes. Yes.
You're not properly responding.
Right.
You're properly staffed.
Exactly.
I would agree with that. And the other thing I would say is that I came in, I've been here a year, and when I came in, I did not make any statements relative to the fact that we have too many people, we don't have enough people. I said, I don't want to make any statements until I've had a chance to sink in, until I've had a chance to observe it and to live it. And now I've lived it, and I can tell you that if we are going to get, and the thing I'm most concerned about is the accounting. And the accounting is the source of all evil when it comes to why things fell off the rails. The rails. And it's very, very, very slippery slope. When you don't put one thing in correctly and you enter another thing backwards, or you enter things to the wrong accounts, it's just, there's so many accounts, it's just very hard to go through. And you will see, although you are not being audited, but the Chesterfield-Goshen Regional is being audited and the Hampshire Regional is being audited. Chesterfield-Goshen has been, the audit is complete. The auditors met with the school committee, delivered their package. We had a finding. The finding is no surprise to us because we know that the payroll accruals weren't put in properly, et cetera, et cetera. And that was back in '23. So we're answering questions in '23, we're answering questions in '24, we're answering questions in '25, we're answering questions in '26, and now we're projecting '27. It's an awful lot. And I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. So we'll just have to try to keep that moving forward.
On that topic.
Yes.
So, one of the things that we had suggested is that there be a district-wide meeting so that we can all hear the same information and then be it ask questions or offer feedback. So can that happen? Because, people can not have a full grasp of information, or people can have preconceived notions about something. And I still feel like, given meetings in the office, that might be valuable, perhaps not. That's your call, but I just wanted to bring that up.
But at least we could have a debate amongst all of us.
Yeah.
You get it all at the same time from all, it's not an ABC, it's all 5 committees, all 5 something else.
Right. Yep. And that certainly, I heard that, and one of the topics we're going to discuss at the chairs meeting is that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we're trying to be sensitive to the concern, the financial concerns that all the towns are feeling, but nonetheless, I still would come forward with the same recommendation that we try to move the external people away and staff our office so that we can continue to support all of the budgets and such.
I'm sorry.
So
Yes.
I know we're only 2.5 weeks into the school year.
Yes,
But the supporting documents that you put in for the numbers, the 7-page.
yes, that's just for 25.
No.
Yeah.
But my question is this in the current year with the format budget and blah, blah, blah,
Yes.
the way it's currently being provided to the building principal or
No.
Southampton?
No.
Will it be?
Yes.
What revenue?
What we plan to do is monthly with a quarterly analysis. So monthly, this report would come out. What we're trying to do right now, if you look at that colored page, again, for 25, what you see are the offsets. So we're doing this in a retrospective way for 25. What we're trying to move towards is doing it in a prospective way so that, let's just take circuit breaker, for example. It's the largest offset. It's 183,000 here. I've forgotten what it is in next year's budget, but it's a large number. what we should be doing is identifying before the budgets are distributed, before it's loaded into the general ledger, you should be identifying where you're going to take that offset. And so that's what we're in the process of doing. And we're also, so that has to happen. We have to identify that. So I'll be meeting with each of the principals. I've met with some of them already. I have not met with Elisa to identify these particular offsets or what lines would be reduced. Once we do that, then the budgets will get loaded into the system, and then the actuals in the budgets will track more closely than what you're seeing here.
Right, and one of the reasons for my question of that is because I don't know about the rest of the committee, but if you're going to reconcile it quarterly,
Yes.
right, then I think that meets you can check that box for the quarterly financial with the school committee, but also sharing that report.
Yes.
But then this also allows the principal to have a separate set of eyes on here, because when again, this is last year's, I realize that.
Yes.
Second line on it, we didn't spend a penny. There's $157,000 in the program. Where had we seen that on a monthly or a quarterly basis, we potentially could have, someone would have flagged it, and we could have resolved whatever that coding issue
Right.
is. Not to go backwards.
Yeah.
As we go forward.
Okay.
We're looking at it in real time versus.
And so what I want to mention about that is you actually did spend lots of pennies there. It just doesn't reflect because it was charged to ARPA.
Correct. Which then took a long time to uncover. And this
Yes.
before you-
No, I understand. It's absolutely reasonable, totally reasonable.
It's off, if
Yeah.
no one's looking at it,
Yes,
then it's not going to be correct.
absolutely.
It's measured.
Yeah, and the auditors would say the same thing. You know, and what we had committed to is trying to get that first full report in October. I don't know if that's realistic or not. First, we have to meet with all the principals. I'm meeting on Monday with a seasoned business administrator who does this for a comparable regional. We're meeting with the MARS. What is MARS again? The Massachusetts Association of Regional Schools. We're meeting with them. And then, because this is a major change to how we're presenting our numbers, we're meeting with the auditors. So Vito and myself and two people from our department will be meeting with the auditors to get their buy-in to how we're going to go about it, because not everybody does it the same way, and what the auditors have suggested to us so far isn't necessarily consistent with what we've heard from the other regional schools. So we have to get everybody on the same page, agree on how we're going to do it, and then do it. It has to get loaded in, and then those reports will be meaningful. Right now, we could produce the reports, it would just all have zeros in the budget. So no matter what happens, I will produce the report for October. I just can't tell you if it's going to have zeros in the budget, or if we will have 100% agreement from everybody on how to move forward. But I have spoken with the auditors. I think that's our best way to go forward. When you're making such a change like that, get buy-in from everybody, get it in, and then start giving it to principals.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Jen.
And I don't know if I'm remembering this incorrectly, so do we think that the grants and stuff that we get reimbursed for sped costs will be, I know maybe not for the first coming year, because I know it's like a lag in when you get the money versus when it goes in, but weren't our numbers lower than that we thought they were going to be as far as actual costs or what we were going to get in those grants because it was not properly being reported by previous administration? And do we think now that those things are being reported by the people that are supposed to be reporting them, that maybe not for FY25, but in FY28, God, I can't believe I'm saying that, that those numbers may be up and better than they are now?
For 26, those numbers will be better than they are now, no doubt. And that may help us offset some of these other extraordinary costs. But yes, they will be. Pardon me? Oh, yes. I thought that was. There's money coming. I thought that was, yeah. I thought that was pennies from heaven. It was like, oh, okay. So, yeah. In any event. Yeah, right. Incremental, I'm trying to.
Sped increment?
Sped increment, thank you. Sped increment is something that is increased as a result of how Amy Drake has been, has applied. And as has extraordinary relief. Extraordinary relief we had to use in '25, so we've applied it against this budget. And the short answer to your question, Jen, is yes.
Okay.
I do expect so. But then it won't necessarily, the increment wouldn't necessarily come the next year because...
I know, it doesn't line up.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to like get that out there, that like there was a problem and we came a little short in areas, but that
Yes.
problem also has now been fixed.
Oh, absolutely,
and
to the nth degree.
Help carry on coming
Yes,
forward.
yes. And whenever I go in and check in with, the Director of Pupil Services, I mean, she's got it all at her fingertips. She's excellent. She doesn't let a penny go by.
Right.
So that's a yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems as if principals wait for reports. Is there a mechanism that they can actually access a system that's read-only for them to say in the moment?
Yes, there is, and I think that what would be helpful is for people in the central office to go out and train each principal, because you haven't been able to do it for quite some number of years, and so I think there is that facility, there's that capability, and we need to just provide some support so that they feel comfortable doing it, and then I think, and then Aliza and others would be able to access it and kind of do their own analysis, and then bring questions to us and such. But that's not fair to expect at the moment because not everybody has had the training.
No, I mean, I think that's an excellent opportunity for principal professional development, financial literacy.
Seriously,
system.
yeah.
It'd be great.
Get them all together.
I would agree.
Yeah.
You know, one-time training, like refreshment, maybe, sir.
I'll even make John's
Here's a bag of chips.
Okay, any other questions on the budget? Because I'm going to move to the insurance trust. Okay, so if you go to the next page, in that table there, this is the projected impact of the additional 20% increase in the Hampshire Group Insurance Trust assessments. And I also want to say, we factored in what we know, which is the 20%, which is effective October 1. In addition, what we factored in here, just so that you could get a comprehensive look, for retirees who take our insurance, the expectation is effective January 1, there will be increases. So we have put in, as the second bullet says down below, we've calculated the retiree cost based on a 25% increase assumption, which is what we understood from talking with the people at the trust to anticipate.
That was going to be my question, because their experience should be following the regular. Like, if it is 25, I would be very shocked. But,
Meaning you think it's too high?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the number they Joe gave you? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the number that we got from them. So we factored in 25% for the retirees. The retirees, and so that's primarily, again, here for Southampton, for the town of Southampton, you have the high school. And so that's $204,000. As Jen had mentioned, Jen had the number right at $229. I just wanted to emphasize that the $204,387 is the amount from the high school. It does include this other assumption. Whether that bears out or not, we'll find out. But then the other portion that I wanted to identify is that the elementary school will be impacted in the following way. The central office costs get allocated to each elementary school. And the central office costs, of course, include salary and benefits and paper and pencils and all of that, and systems and technology. The impact of the 20% based on the central office benefits is reflected here. And so that means that the elementary school would be picking up $24,000. So what we have to figure out is this first line up here of 364, which is the total for Hampshire Regional, and it would be 204. What we're trying to do at the regional is to cover that 364,000 with some mechanism, as Jen mentioned, a grant, school choice, without going back to the towns and asking for assessment increases.
The central office portion of health insurance that flows down to Norris.
Yes.
Norris's responsibility. Is that inclusive or included within the quarterly invoice?
It is.
Okay, so.
The budgeted amount is in the quarterly invoice, because all that gets invoiced to any elementary school, just like with the, whatever.
Number divided by 4.
Yeah, basically. And so now we haven't been in a position of having this increase here. I don't know if that will get absorbed through E&D, or if this is going to be a budgeted number that we come back to the schools for. This is an unusual situation, because typically, all that gets invoiced is whatever that current year's budget is. And so that is unclear to me how this is going to be handled.
Yeah, so the question in my mind, which isn't to be resolved today,
Yes.
Dr. Bradley, does he break that? Because Norris doesn't carry a line item for health insurance. The town pays 100% of that.
Yes.
Outside Norris budget.
That's right.
My question now to Bradley is, where's this portion related to the minutes for central, no, where's the central office piece historically gone? Does he break that out of that quarterly and assign it to the treasurer's office?
No, he doesn't.
So,
I spoke perhaps too soon. My understanding is that this benefit portion is not separately identified. It's just, there's a line code for central office expenses, and it says salaries. There's 3 line codes this year: salaries, non-salary, and forensics. And that's how it gets billed out.
so the non-salary includes this
Yes.
insurance piece?
Yes. It doesn't include this piece, the 20%, but it includes, yes.
The original amount.
Yes, exactly.
So my question is, Article 2 on the special town meeting, to try to take care of the insurance bill,
Wouldn't include that.
doesn't include this 24,000.
Because that 24,000 is in the Norris number, and the Norris number cannot be adjusted outside of special town vote. Because, so, like,
Right, so if Article 2 passes, then we take care of the municipal employees, that including teachers.
at Norris,
At Norris.
not the central
But it
office.
doesn't take care of our central office piece, so we still have 24,700.
But I believe we're working with the select board's working with the $229,000 number.
So that's a
From the
204 plus.
is the number that
You had
we
been-
can see, are we getting a special assessment and we have to call for early town meeting, or are they going to wait till July 1st?
So that 229 is our portion of Hampshire plus
The central office.
Norris's portion of
Yes.
central office, okay?
So the Article 2 doesn't have the Hampshire part in it, right?
No.
No, because we haven't been, the town hasn't been served a formal notice yet. of
Right.
assessment.
And before I have gone to any select board or finance committee, I felt it was incumbent upon me to go to the school committees to say, this is what I think your portion is going to be. And now that we have done that, I'll then take the same chart and just forward it to the select boards, the town administrators, the finance committees, to say, this is what we've calculated, and this is how we've calculated it. But I felt that we needed to see, I needed to come forward to the schools first.
When do you, if you know this, when do you anticipate the Hampshire Regional School Committee taking this up and voting one way or the other?
The finance committee, the subcommittee of the school committee is going to be getting together to discuss this, and I expect that will be later this month. Do you expect that, Vito?
I do.
Yeah, later this month is the last that we talked about.
Let's say, I think our next meeting's the 22nd.
Pardon me?
For the full committee?
Yeah.
The 22nd. Do you know when the next finance committee is?
I don't know.
September, October 20.
No, the next meeting for the full school committee, Hampshire Regional, is October 8th.
Yeah.
And then,
Our meeting's October 8th.
pardon me?
Our meeting is October 8th.
What's that? Is it October 6th? What's the Monday?
October 6th.
October 6th, excuse me, the Monday.
Interesting.
Yeah. So October 6th, I think if you're thinking of a 20, I don't know if Tom has gone out with it yet, but the school committee, the auditors will be presenting the audit, once it's complete, to the school committee, and that's tentatively set for later in October, like October 20th. And Tom, that's just breaking news today, so I don't know if Tom has gone out to ask any of the school committee members yet, but when the auditor, I also don't think, this is what I've been told, I wasn't here so I couldn't swear to it, I don't know that the auditors have ever been invited to speak to the school committee, but I've asked them to come. They have in the past because you've been here, and they've come in. So the last one that was completed was FY 2022, so maybe they came in 22. Every year they do? Okay. So they'll be coming for 23, for 24, and 25. So anyway, that's the situation on this chart, and that's really all I had to report. I think, did I say at the beginning that we're trying to do a pro forma of what the budget is? So that's that. Any other questions?
Well, sorry, Dylan, but one point I just think that I don't think you brought up, or we didn't talk about at our meeting, but came up at the Hampshire Regional meeting, like the discussion of trying to leave the trust and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Was brought up the fact that even if we do leave the trust, I believe you said it was 18 months worth of claims that we still have to cover even if we leave.
That's correct. Oh, and I'm glad you did bring that up.
It's your claim run out rate.
The claim run out for the next 18 months, we'd have to cover that. Not just my understanding, although there is...
It should be 6 months.
Oh.
You don't want it 12 months that you're actually...
It's the plus six months after that?
Usually trail 90 days.
Okay.
So by the 4th or 5th month, there won't be...
There shouldn't be any more claims. So tomorrow is the next meeting of the Insurance Advisory Committee with the trust, and that agenda includes the cash flow for July and August. I reviewed it briefly with John before the meeting, just to make sure I was reading it correctly, and it looks like there's still some bleeding going on, so that the monies in don't cover the monies out. And so...
That report that you showed.
Yes.
Showing negative $2.9 million.
Yeah.
At the end of August.
For August, yeah. So we'll find out more information. I don't really want to report on it because I haven't attended the meeting, but the kinds of things that will be discussed will be there was a special open enrollment. There were all 71 units. They allowed people to leave the PPO plan and go to the HMO. That's right. And there were 72 subscribers in all of those units in total that took advantage of that open enrollment. I think for Hampshire Regional there was one, and I don't know what happened in, I'm not privy to your enrollment information. And then there were 14 subscribers who canceled insurance. So a total of 86 made changes.
14 cancellations at Hampshire Regional, or just in the whole?
Just in the whole 72, and the whole 71 units, and the same with that 72 subscriber. That was the whole 71 units, and I know one was at Hampshire Regional. It was a retiree. The other thing that they're going to talk about tomorrow is the legislative update. So they have met several times with the legislature, and we'll see what they have to say about what, if anything, is going to be done. They're going to talk about the GIC, and the GIC, which is a potential plan that that participants could move to, and they're saying it does not have a benefit plan like the trust, and if we were to move to that, there would be bargaining involved because of the contractual agreements and such. Then the same with Maya. They may not have a benefit plan like the trust. They're going to be talking about that, what is the same and what isn't. If it's not the same, again, those with unions would have to bargain or go through some extensive process. And units of a certain size are experience rated each year through Maya, so there are different parameters to consider when you're moving out, if we were to decide to move out. Then, in terms of a number of the units who are thinking about moving on have asked for their claims data, so that they can analyze it and what They've had 10 requests so far. And I have to check to see if we've asked. I've asked, but I don't know if we went through the formal process, because they've set up a formal process now. If they haven't captured our request, then we will follow whatever process there is, so it is captured. But what they're saying is they can only provide claim experience data for those units with a subscriber count above 100. So for the regional, that would be yes. For the elementary regional, that would be no.
It would be yes. Because
No, the elementary regional.
Yeah. Southampton would be a yes. Hampshire would be a yes, and then
Chesterfield, Goshen.
that's actually good.
That's good, because if you have less than 50 eligible lives, it's a fixed price, doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter if you're upside down 1,000% or you're 1,000% to the positive. 50 lives and over, under, you're not going to get Blue Cross Blue Shield because that's who you're with right now.
Yeah.
They're putting a firewall up. But Harvard Pilgrim, any of those other plans, it's a fixed price, it's registered with the state, they can't charge you more. That's what it is. Above 50, it's experience rated.
It's experience rated.
That's why they didn't want to see the claims data.
Yeah, and,
Because obviously, out of 71 units,
Right.
there's got to be some that are upside down.
right, what if it's above 50 and below 100?
It doesn't matter, 50 is the number that...
Okay, because they're saying that they will only provide claims data over 100, because that's the HIPAA B Blue Cross Blue Shield mass guideline, so, don't know. But we'll find out more about that. They also talked about, a lot of the units have asked about a high deductible plan, and I just wanted to, one of the things they're going to talk about is that the insurance director and the executive committee do not recommend a high deductible plan be offered 1/1/26, which would be still in this fiscal year, because they're saying it won't help the trust financially. It penalizes a subscriber as the deductible would only run for 6 months and then be reset for the new insurance year.
But wouldn't you tag along an HRA or an FSA program to benefit the subscriber?
I don't know. I think that would be,
I would, just for what it's worth, for you and maybe even Kimberly, as the chair here, is Scott, actually, our town administrator, with his law degree, certification in HR, and his years as a human resource director in collective bargaining units.
yes,
He'd be a really good one to talk to about the pros and cons of the GIC,
okay,
from a legal compliance under mass law.
okay. All right, we will get together with them. And then they are considering some plan changes for 7/1/26, so for next year, next fiscal year, and that's what they're saying being discussed is offering the current plan but priced accordingly, so that means additional increases. Offer the current plan with no medical deductibles but with copay changes, and maybe a GIC-like plan or a high deductible plan. Those are the 4 things that they're currently exploring, and the high deductible plan was not recommended by the trust executive director or the executive committee. So I'm glad you said something, Jen, because I'd forgotten that I had that little nugget. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, we're moving to the policy now. We have a second reading on the consolidated ESC Universal School Meals and ERP School Nutrition Program Fund policy. So the packet is not actually
Okay, so just FYI, there is a cross-reference that we talked about last time. I was hoping to get that on the agenda, but I didn't do it in time. But just for informational purposes, I do have copies of those. And I guess we'll take them at the next meeting. Referenced here, and we will pass these. One is brand new to us, the other is some changes to it. So that's just so for ESC, the only thing to what's and there's an underline and it's on the page under one free snack. So I took that out. And that's about it. So I did email Elisa and Nikki. There's only like 2 changes that need to be made to the number. So most of it's in there. So we're good with that.
Thank you.
I move that we accept the second reading and move for a final vote on consolidated EFC universal 3-month meals at the school nutrition program change policy.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Thank you, Margaret.
All in favor?
Hi.
Yeah, Margaret, thanks for all your work on this. There. Okay, wellness policy. Okay, so this is the second read tonight of the wellness policy. So what you have in front is the wellness policy, the wellness committee worked on last year. With some highlighting in it, I have asked the nurse leader to go through and indicate. I was trying to get a sense of what was required by law and what was recommended but not necessarily required. So, that's it. Our nurse leader is here, ready to, and our nurse is here, ready to answer questions, if folks have them. So I'm thinking there's sort of like, to me, there's sort of like two categories of questions here. This isn't my line, if anybody disagrees with me, jump in. One of them was, one of my things I was thinking about, it's more like picky little things as far as like format. This was written to be a big D district policy, but it doesn't look like it's going that way, right? So like for like, clarity about what we're doing. I'm just wondering, all the places where we're referencing the Hampshire Regional School District, if we should be referencing the Southampton School District. Places where we're referencing pre-K to 12, should it be pre-K to 6? And like anything that references things that are specific to the middle and high school, just taking those parts out seems to make sense to me. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I feel like this is going to be a Southampton policy, not a big D district policy.
Why? I'm just curious.
Because I know other committees are not going with this, so we're not all passing the same thing.
And that's, I did have a conversation with Kimberly today, our attorney, and that's almost exactly what she said. Because I had asked questions about, well, if 2 or 3 committees approve it and 2 don't, does that pass or it doesn't? She said, no, it really needs to be individualized if there's not like an all districts meeting where the questions are asked, answered, and everybody's in. So as it stands right now, the recommendation that that council gave was that Southampton should look at it just like was outlined, with those things taken out, and then with a recognition or with an understanding of the Mass General Law and the
USDA.
Yeah, the USDA's requirements.
Just ask a question on that point specifically, does there seem to be a consensus amongst the other districts about what the objections are to this policy, or is it kind of a scattershot approach?
Consensus is probably not a word that I would use with it. There are...
How long have you been in the district, Dylan?
Are there themes?
Sorry, that's all.
Yes, so thematically, what I'm seeing is there's a strict adherence group to FDA, the USDA and the MGL, and then there's a loose adherence to who really value past practice and culture and parent involvement, and they feel, it's funny, they use the same words about exclusionary or inclusiveness, but they're arguing for these different points.
Can we just ban potlucks and we can solve this entire problem? Or is
it's really anything that's happening during the school day, anything that's brought in, whether it's a celebration, hey, happy birthday, Susie Q, here's your cupcakes, right? That's really valued in some schools, but it's not approved really by the MGL and the USDA. So you have these two camps that are,
But these aren't the same camps that always take this position. Like, I think one of the camps said probably, we don't need to listen to that, but then advocate on a certain law that, oh no, we have to follow this law.
yeah,
Only law or not,
There's no doubt.
you know?
So, okay, so here's what I'm thinking now. The fact that Kimberly's involved was brand new information to me tonight, which is fine.
Yep.
That's fine. But what I'm thinking, if Kimberly's doing that crosswalk with MGL and USDA and all that, I'm wondering, I think we should ask Sam our questions. She's here in case he wants to bring anything up as well.
Yep.
That's fine. But then I'm also wondering if you want to wait on voting until we hear Kimberly's, Kimberly's view. I don't know. That's not my decision. That's just something for us to think about. So, does anybody have content questions?
Before,
I just want to add one piece to that.
Pretty fast.
yeah, really.
There were food service audits that require, if you will, a policy in place.
Right.
And
But we could also make the policy and then change it if we had to.
absolutely. And we've never had one that has been approved. There was a draft in 2020 maybe, and that's what started this work last year. And so there were some audits, there were some findings, so I just want to inform that too.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Content questions, Jen.
Can I say something first really quick? I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but my recommendation is definitely to table this. I'm happy to answer all the questions, but because we're getting Kimberly involved, I don't want you to vote on this and then have to come back to you and say, hold on, we're not doing that. So I really would like Kimberly's recommendation before we move forward with anything.
So potentially the motion could be to approve this subject to legal approval.
Okay.
So if Kimberly wanted to make substantial changes, she
Sure.
could be.
Yeah, whatever you guys choose is fine.
Okay, well,
That's it.
I think where you're here, we probably get a lot of questions. So if that stuff stays in whatever Kimberly approves, we already have the answers to those questions. So I think it's still a good discussion to have. So Jen, you were ready, so.
Yes. So I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. This policy is not currently being used in place. Like, this is not currently what is happening at schools at this exact moment, or yes, it is to some degree, or it's not at all. Bits and pieces. Okay. Okay. I thought. And every school does different bits and pieces. Okay. Who was part of the committee that made this plan? So I actually, I
have a list. All the district nurses, myself, of course.
Vito. And then I put it out to the entire community. So it went out to all staff, all students. So it went like to the parents, the guardians, anybody. Let me just, hold on.
And by community, she means the 5.
Yes,
separate districts.
to everybody. Right. Wellness committee members, okay. Do you want me to read the name? So my bigger question is that, were any of the cafeteria staff members? So Carol Inman was a part of it? I don't know who that is, but. She's the food services director for Hampshire Regional. Okay, she was a part of it. And then everybody else, there was a mix of parents, there was a few staff from multiple schools. This is really loud, sorry. And then all the nurses were a part of it. And we had payroll, we had Rachel Emerson as well. Okay, because that, to me, is more the bigger piece to all this, not necessarily that I have like a necessary, I understand what Vito's saying about the other committees, like, yes, like we traditionally went to school and had Halloween parties and there was candy everywhere, and we had Christmas parties and there was candy everywhere, and we could bring in cupcakes for our birthdays. Like, I remember bringing my daughter to preschool at Norris and bringing in cupcakes, and, you know, it just couldn't have peanuts in it, so I had to send a picture of the ingredient box. Like, so I get that. I feel like at our school, with the addition of being able to do the birthday treats, I mean, I don't know if all the other schools do that, but I mean, that kind of helps that piece to that puzzle. I feel like they still get that without it being a huge issue. My, I guess, biggest thing is, and this isn't a thing against you guys and the people that work there, because this is like a bigger government issue, is that I would love for there to be tons of locally grown and locally sourced food and fresh vegetables and in gardens at all the schools and all of this stuff at our schools. I would preach from the mountaintops. Like, I helped get the chicken coop. I know that, like, I would love there to be enough stuff that you could do this. My problem is this looks all well and good and well-intentioned and has all that, but what is it actually going to happen? Like, I know many of the women that work at our cafeteria, so I had a conversation, I'm like, do you do this? She's like, nope. Do you do this? Nope. Do we do this? Nope. Like, and not like big things, but like their hands are tied on where they can get produce and stuff and food from. And I just feel like, and this is a cut at the state and just the government in general, is that, yeah, look at all this great stuff we're doing, but we're not actually giving you the ability or the funding or the way to actually make these kids healthier. It's just a big, hey, look at us, we're trying to make it, we're worried about everyone's health. Like, in all reality, if you were worried about that, you wouldn't let them have chocolate milk with 22 grams of sugar in it.
24, actually.
Right, so, you know what I mean? And that's my problem with this, is that, and it's not against the people that did it, or the thoughts behind it.
If I could just piggyback on that, and that's exactly the only consensus point between everything that we've heard, is that the food that's currently served in the food service in the different places isn't the most healthy food.
Correct.
And they would love to see the farm fresh and the produce and all those things, fruit, veggies, in there and available.
Right. As you said, Jen, our hands are tied because it's
right.
what,
and again,
it's what
that
the district allows,
not,
the federal government.
So that to me means, I take this with a grain of salt. Like, it just seems kind of like a lot of work for a bunch of bullshit, to tell you the truth. Okay?
Yep.
Because the kids are not getting 40, I am who I am, and I'm not going to change that for the sake of this meeting.
I know, but you can't say that on TV.
Of course I can. If anyone has a problem, they can come talk to me.
There's the barn door, there's the horse.
Like, the part, like, and again, I already talked about, I would love for them to be more locally sourced food and all of that, and I love that that's there. I don't know if there's currently nutritional education going on in the schools. Again, I would love for that. Like, and then not in a way of like, donuts are bad and you have to eat vegetables, but just that there is an overall wellness piece of like, you make good choices, you know, there's sometimes food, there's all the time food, and what's going to make your body feel the best kind of approach. But my other thing, and I have this problem regardless, is I don't think the kids get enough outdoor time. And I know they don't in the bigger grades because they barely get 15 minutes. And this thing says they're supposed to have 60 minutes a day, if you look at the USDA and the Mass General Law. So how do you factor that in? Because I know that's already not happening.
It's a question, and this happens a lot, and it just happens, like, we've been talking, I think we've been talking about local policies
At least, yeah.
right?
And this is not a knock against what's happening.
The question of, are we looking for a policy that reflects our reality, or are we looking for a policy that is what we aspire to be? That seems to be the conflict.
I think it's hard too, because once you have a policy, you have to follow it. So if you aim too high, and I feel like, honestly, I feel like we are aiming a little high with this, but.
And like with what you said about, even like the stuff about having a health educator, we don't have a health teacher, right?
No.
Nurses do some health education in the classrooms, but we don't have a dedicated, no.
And there's not like a health curriculum. I know we have the second step, which
Social curriculum.
I don't know if I love it, but I actually looked up to see if there was other programs that were better, and actually it does come up as a like scientifically researched like based thing. So I was like, okay, great, then fine.
But standards now, right?
Yeah, right.
There's actual standards that but we're not teaching those standards, are we?
Health standards?
Health standards, are we not at our school?
Right.
No.
No.
Right, so we don't
Easthampton
have.
has a health teacher as well.
I want you to be able to keep on, but I have some similar concerns.
No, right, so that's.
Reality versus aspiration.
Right, so I would rather not, I'd rather have a very like basic, like bare bones policy. And I mean, I would still advocate for more outside time, but and then aspire to it, I guess. But like, if you're gonna put in that there's locally grown food and locally sourced food and there's gonna be gardens and all of this stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna hold you to it. Like, I wanna see it. I was actually shocked when I talked to one of the cafeteria workers. I, in my brain, have the vision of what cafeterias were when I went to school. And I was like, oh, like, God, you serve like canned green, like, that to me is just, she's like, no, it's fresh. Like, well, it's not fresh, but it's like fresh frozen. Like, it's frozen vegetables, it's frozen whatever, you know, it's fresh fruits and stuff when we can get them, blah, 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 which, that was like, oh, that's great. Like, that's shocked. I love that they made the adjustment to get I forget what they call it, but like the milk meal, so like they can get the fruit, to eliminate our milk issue. Flip it, and that's my other point with the government, but again, you know, like they are working towards it, and I value what they're doing, and I understand that they're in a tough position because of everybody else, and they're not necessarily doing what they want to do, it's just what they can do. But again, I think it's not useful to have all of these things if we're not going to hire a health teacher, obviously, and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So, sorry.
Do you have any other questions for?
No.
Dylan, do you have any? Margaret?
My concern is that I am very reluctant to vote on a policy when there are things that we cannot put into. That just feels against the definition of the policy. Non-negotiable.
Oh, along those lines with Margaret, I think unless there's language in there that says, yeah, this is our policy, this is what we want to do, but because of this, we can't do it, so we're going to work towards trying to remove those roadblocks, and we'll revisit this in 3 years, you know, to your point. This is where we want to get to.
The policies are aspirational by nature.
Correct. But to vote on it, have it in, and have the checkbox if and when we get a food audit, doesn't.
Well, I think this is aspirational, but maybe we just can't vote on it, right? I mean, I think the intent was in some ways aspirational, like this is what we should be shooting for. But I want to go back to what Rita had said about Kimberly's doing some work on this, and I'm wondering if we wait.
Oh, I have no problem waiting, but I think if we don't, we wait for Kimberly's feedback. And the feedback is that you can't have this policy because you're not going to be able to implement it. Okay, well, we have to have something in there, even if it's a page. This is why we don't have this policy. There needs to be an extra, so when the auditor comes in, where's your policy? Oh, we don't have one, here's why, and this is what we voted on.
Okay.
You know,
So is that, do you want to vote on some language to have a sheet of paper somewhere that says this is why we don't currently have a policy?
I would suggest we wait to hear back from Kimberly.
So we can do this in October.
And I think the breakdown of the two has to be, I think USDA and MGL, or USDA guidelines and MGL requires that we do have a policy. Not having a policy that says we don't have a policy. I'm going to put my lawyer hat on, I'm looking at my JD for this, ain't gonna fly.
The policy could be, we'll do the best that we can.
Fine, yeah.
We'll try.
You know what? I'm going to piece of paper that says, I don't have a driver's license, but I'm going to drive the best I can. And I'm going to hand that over at traffic stop. And you're
First of all, you shouldn't do anything to get stopped.
All right, so we're all agreed to table wellness till we get back from Kimberly, and then we're doing that?
Yes.
Thank you for your work.
Yes, thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for annotating it the way I requested. That was helpful. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Tracy, thank you for coming.
Thank you all for not.
Okay. So wellness policies table until we hear back from council. All right. Okay, we are on first reading. Okay, so after a discussion last month with the school, we decided to do a first read on policy KCD, public gifts to schools. John gave us the recommended MASC policy, which is in the packet, so this is the first read. And what I also did, because there's some national law stuff, I also, the next page in the packet is the national law stuff. But I guess the thing that I wanted to just point out is what the Mass General Law says is, in case of any kind of gift given for educational purposes, they may expend, so we, school may accept the gift, and then any gift given for educational purposes, the school can expend said funds for the purposes of such gift with the approval of the school committee. So it sounds like what we've done. Like that's what the law is as well. So this is just a first read, but there it is.
I have a question for John on that one. A second sentence in the first paragraph, in the case of gifts from those groups, no extensive advertising or promotion may be involved in any donation to the schools. How does that comport with the town bylaw on commercial naming? Is that sufficiently strict enough to comport with town bylaw?
Yeah, you can't, under the bylaw, you can't have any commercial name.
Right, but I'm saying the town bylaw, I mean, it's, I understand what the town bylaw says, I gotta reread it. I didn't pull
The
it
town
from this
bylaw
email.
represents the school, because the town bylaw recognizes that the school committee has jurisdiction over the schools, not the town.
Thank you, that answers my question.
Okay, so are there any other questions or comments about this?
Yeah, so this policy is silent on anonymous gifts, as is the law. So I know in the past Southampton Regional, there was a very large anonymous gift, and there was potential concern, and then it was accepted knowing that the principal knew who the donor was. So can we keep it silent on that, or
Yeah, or
would we be
if
specific?
you wanted to add a piece on that, off the top of my head, I would say we could add a sentence that says, in the event that the donor wishes to remain anonymous, the superintendent shall file an affidavit indicating that the donor does not violate the policy.
That I would be.
It's not Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
If the superintendent signs an affidavit that it's anonymous, they want to be anonymous, but I verify that it meets the policy.
Yeah.
I usually with that.
Should I
This
run that?
affidavit brought to you by Coca-Cola Corporation.
Should I run that by Kimberly to be sure that that's?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's first read anyway, yeah. So
Yeah, but I will, but before next month, I can say this is what we want to add.
just the affidavit piece. Kimberly only charges us $400 a year. Let's not try to jack that number up like, well, yeah. If your regional did that under a certain chairperson and that rooster came home to roost.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I move that we accept policies KCD and
They're just KCD for now.
KCD as first read, as amended.
Second,
And we can refer our question.
And, yes.
still second.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Policy JF. So there's the current version, and then there is, the next page is review to update it. So there's very little difference between these two. I believe the first paragraph is verbatim. The second paragraph, the current says that kindergarten registration will take place in April. The proposed change says in the spring. And then I think that's the only difference there. And then the other thing, then there's a bunch of extra, there's a bunch of additional references on the report. So again, this is just the first read. Doesn't change anything.
The only question I have, so is the proposed version a direct copy and paste from?
This came from central office.
It came from the Director of Pupil Services.
All right, so then my question is, and maybe, I don't know, just knowing how unique we are. So that second paragraph, starting with the second sentence, every student seeking admission to the school for the first time must present a certificate equivalent proof of age acceptable to the principal, and proof of vaccine immunization, by the state and the school committee. Proof of residency of the individual whom legal guardianship may also be required by the school administration. Are we calling out any difference between the principal and the school administration?
I don't know.
Because it sounds like it's two different, and then, again, knowing us, is that reality? Is the building principal signing off on birth certificates, or is that the office of superintendent? Or is nobody doing that?
Say that again?
Well, this is saying that you would have to sign off on all birth certificates as principal.
On all birth certificates.
Okay. Are you doing that?
Well,
Are you checking?
Are they acceptable to do? It doesn't say administration.
Someone in that office does.
Well,
School administration would cover that.
yes.
So,
If my admin assistant suspects something wrong, we would investigate.
It's acceptable to the principal. It
That is
doesn't say shall be
acceptable.
presented to the principal. So I think that falls under principal or designee.
That's what I was thinking too.
I feel like we don't need to go crazy.
Do we add or designate?
Good Lord.
No, I don't think we need. I think it's implied. I mean, every student, it just says it must present a birth certificate or equivalent proof of age acceptable to the principal. It doesn't say to the principal that is acceptable.
no, I'm with you on that one. After the,
Yeah, no,
also be required by school administration. So what is it, school administration? Now, probably if I was looking at all these policies together, there'd be a definition page.
the administration does not.
Good. So there's a definition in the entire policy.
The administration of Norris, correct?
Listen to attorney.
all right.
Actually, I have another question on that before we go further. I know it says district with the little d. The previous policy says town. Are we good with
We are district.
Southampton School District?
Norris is a district of Powell itself.
Okay, that's why I knew the answer to that, but just wanted to point it out.
So it should be Powell.
No, wait. So I don't want to go to regional school district.
Well, we say big D district only, that is just,
I understand.
just lingo from a million years ago.
I know.
Right, okay. So do you want to change school district?
No.
Are we okay with this? So the copy that says review, the one we're seconding on it next month.
Stop being popular.
So Jay,
Stop being popular.
So, procedure-wise, we've done our first read right now, we're going to do our second read, and the intent of going to the second read is to allow 15-day public input. So where are we posting these documents? Are they attached to the agendas online, so the public, I mean, we'd have to direct them there, but that's the intent of going from first to second read, is to give 15 days.
well, what
to
did
the
you do when
public.
you were?
I relied on central office or school administration. or building council.
Which means he relied on me because I told everybody.
All right, so
I move that we accept policy JF school admissions as a first read.
Second.
any further discussion?
No, but to answer your question, under the town calendar, you can attach supporting documents to the agenda. No, they're not. But we've had a turnover.
All right, let's vote on this and then we'll talk about that. Sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so Vito.
Yes.
Can you have on your list to get, ask Jess to post KCD and JF?
Could I suggest an alternative?
You can.
Since our agenda and packets are ready 48 hours in advance, 48 hours before the meeting, if they were just attached there, then the public would have access to everything we did 2 days before we had our meeting.
Okay.
So we just made that a normal practice.
Is that 15 days in advance though?
Our packets should be an attachment on the posting on the town website for the meeting.
Yeah.
You got that?
And then we'll just go back to this.
Okay, but that doesn't
in
give
the
them
minutes.
15 days to see it before we hold the next meeting.
So my second part was tomorrow, go back to this posting for tonight's meeting and attach this.
Right, but going forward, shouldn't we just attach these documents?
Yeah, do the whole packet in real time going forward. So we'll take it up that night, and then if we address it, it's sitting there, people know where to go look for it, because we...
Oh, gotcha. Nope, gotcha.
And we use the Jen Pony Express.
What?
My town crier label has been ditched now that I'm up here, okay?
We put this on the town, the posting like disappears from the calendar, right? How would everybody?
That link log in on my name. Central office has it. I have it, and the town clerk has it.
Yeah, so if you look at agendas and minutes
Correct.
for every single
Yeah, meeting, it has.
that have
Lucy
here.
can get you set up on minetowngovernment.com. I have it for mine.
All right.
Do our minutes get posted up there afterwards?
I don't think they have.
No, this is the responsibility of the clerk. Once they're approved.
The tax clerk?
No, the clerk or the committee.
All right.
Excuse me?
All right, so.
Those were not the roles that were explained when I took.
So how, so, okay, now, so
There's
how
someone
do
you
we
sent me
get,
to and they post it.
We just need
how
that
do
short.
how do I get case, how do we get KCD?
I will happily do it, but it was not told to me.
To give you the chair assignment for me, take me off for 2 months.
Okay.
And then I think, I don't remember who the last clerk was, but whoever was on there, for Jim in that place, then you guys leave your own codes, and then you can go in and attach. That's because that'll allow you, if you need to do an emergency meeting in 3 hours notice, you just go and do it. And you kick the meeting right out.
So my direction for me is called Lucy. Right?
Oh, you're the chair, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do.
All right, so that's it.
What are we doing with file EFE and JQ, which were handed out? Are we
Those
looking
are going to be
For next meeting.
For October. Those are
October
gonna be
first,
for
right.
October.
I won't be here in October, but I'm sure that we can manage the process.
That's a good point.
You're not going to be here in October either?
I'll be away the whole week at conference.
All right?
Just the
We're
three
fine.
of us.
October 8th,
stuff
that we
done.
all.
Get stuff done.
Okay, all right, good. That's it for policies. So now,
next?
we have a newly hired nurse in Norris, and Mass General Law requires school committee approval for school nurses.
Yep.
All right?
I move that we approve, I move that we approve Sarah Kent to be appointed as school nurse at the William E. Norris School.
Second.
Okay, so motion by Joan, second by Margaret.
Discussion.
Yes.
Well, no, I didn't say it right now.
For session.
I just wanted, I was out there very dominant. Who's making the recommendation to the school committee to move on this?
I believe it's the superintendent who is recommending.
Correct.
So in cases of school nurses, the hiring process is handled by the principal, but the presentation of asking for the appointment comes through the superintendent to the school. It's just like business administrator, special ed, assistant superintendent. It's the same, it's all in the same category.
No, I'm in full support of it. I just want to be on the record in case anything happens.
I am formally recommending this approval.
So is there any further discussion about this?
No.
Okay, all in favor of the appointment of Sarah Kent as the school nurse in Morris?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I have to tell you, I'm really loving this fun. You're on the committee just sitting back.
Oh, let me tell you how much I'm enjoying it as well.
Can I get you a sign?
Okay, so, all right, so hang in there, people.
Okay.
So the next thing we have.
we have an executive
we're gonna go to executive session. We want to return to public session. Oh, what question?
I wanted to circle back real quick to KCD and JF, because
You have no responsibility right now.
okay. Just wanted to confirm that.
Box is unchecked.
So that problem became mine and I will handle it.
That was the question that was going to be asked.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to go into executive session. We will not be returning to public session. So here's what we need. We need a motion to enter into executive session according to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Section 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. An open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, which I do. We're talking about Southampton Teachers Association. Further, the motion should invite Dr. Perrone, Principal Pluta, and Business Administrator Don Scaparrotti.
So move.
Okay, so that was, who moved and who seconded? John moved, who's the second? Second by Jennifer Kay. We need a roll call vote. Parsons, Shot.
Maudsley, aye.
Johnson, aye.
So we are in executive session. You want to close the window?
Yep.